Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Good morning, you fine folks. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Run It Back. We got Will, Chandler P. My name is Michelle. How we doing, boys?
Howdy, partner.
Great. Very enthusiastic. I love everything about
a lot of juice today
show.
coming out of this corner, Beads.
Oh, but I don't even know what that means, but it sounds good. Guys, we've got some great news. You saw the animation. Roll it.
Flight attendants, prepare for
There he is.
Coming at you live from Mongolia. I'll never, ever get sick of saying that. Boogie, I learned something. Okay, you ready? Sinu. Did you learn that yet? Oh, it's how are you? Come on, man. I'm trying to learn some Mongolian up in here.
Hey, you could have kept it simple and you
That's
just
all
could have
Boogie talk over there. That's all he know how to say.
Yeah. Cha-ching. Does
That's my bad.
cha-ching mean the same thing over there, Boog?
Man, I've been doing research for
In my
20 hours.
ears, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wasting my time. So what do you got going on today? When's the next game? What's the sketch?
We play tomorrow night. Hopefully we get a chance to close out this first round 4-1. So
Nice.
looking forward to tomorrow night and moving on to the next round.
What time is it there right now?
It's about 10 p.m. So
Okay.
I'm dedicated to this, man. I'm here. I'm here for the
All right,
game.
you're ahead.
True professional.
True professional. You let them win a game, Boog? What happened there? I don't like that.
Nah,
Yeah,
actually, it was game 2.
Okay,
we were up
okay.
most of the game, and we literally lost it in like the last 40 seconds of the game. We had 3 turnovers in the last 40 seconds of the stretch, and blew the game.
Could be worse.
Yeah, those type of things happen, but like I said,
It's all right, you got him.
we look forward to closing it out tomorrow night.
So you'll be playing tomorrow while we're on the air. So we're going to try to get updates as we're going. Losing the last 40 seconds sucks. Losing in the last 4 seconds also sucks.
That's
That
a
is
nice little
Sagui.
seggy, Beads.
I got you.
He's a pro.
Here we go. Nuggets and Thunder up in OKC. SGA, of course it's SGA. A 129-126 win. He had 35, career high, 15 assists, 9 rebounds, 0. Very, very clean game. Turnovers. Jalen Williams with 29, 7 of 11 on threes, 12 rebounds. Jokic finishes with 32, 14, and 13. Chandler, your guy Jalen Williams, during the game, you liked the thread. The thread was lit with the Jalen Williams commentary by you, but Cade, Jaylen Brown, even Wemby now, the MVP pushes. But then again, you've got SGA, and I know he's got that 65 games played. That was sort of the lingering Lou, but then you watch a game like last night, and I feel like we're right back to where we started, SGA for MVP.
We are in a what have you done for me lately league. We've always talked about it. This thing changes by the week. And he's put himself back at the top of this conversation. While he was out, we were very excited about Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson. We were excited about Cade Cunningham. We were excited about everybody but SGA. And he sent us a nice, loud reminder last night why he's at the top of this conversation and why he's the head of the snake in the NBA. If anybody wants to get a ring, they got to go through OKC and his depth. Austin Rivers said something last night that resonated to me when he was announcing the game. He said SGA, he finds a way to eat without taking food off of his teammates' plate. And that stood out to me because he's that type of guy. Like under 3 minutes of that game, Jared McCain makes 2 big 3-pointers. Isaiah Joe makes a big shot. And SGA is okay with that. And then he just brings them home. Now he makes 2 big shots to bring them home after fouling Jokic and all of those things. That's what you want in an MVP candidate. That's what you want from your best player. And SGA is nothing shy of it. When he put the 2 up at the end, I wasn't sure whether that was him saying bye to them, saying peace out, or saying I'm 2-time MVP, or just saying I'm number 2, I'm the guy. I don't know what it means. I know it's going to be a meme sooner or later, but it was great to see this last night from SGA.
Yeah, which I need to find out what the celebration, all that was, Lou. If we can get on that, I need some information here. But
I need
crazy.
answers too, because I'm not sure what kind of gun that was. I don't know if it was a rocket or what. I don't know. He was just.
It's like last night I'm watching this dude play, and I completely forgot about the 9 games he just missed. Right, like I just completely. That's just a memory now, and it's just like, oh, now I'm just watching, the MVP and the best player on the best team all season long, and he just constantly reminds you of how good he is. And This guy was like, he was getting double teamed and triple teamed. They were shutting off gaps. They were running guys at him at half court. And he would just simply beat the double team. He would go before it would get there. He would just drive middle and force a third guy to come help. And it was just truly, this meant more to him last night too. I love this little budding rivalry here. There was a lot of juice here. These are two really, really good teams that clearly now have developing some physicality and some history here. And these might just be the two, teams left in the finals in the Western Conference here. So it is awesome to see the level of play kind of rise when these two teams meet. And man, SGA again, talk about MVP. It's hard. He's been the most consistent player. He's been the best player on the deepest, best team all season long. So I found myself hoping he doesn't miss a game for the rest of the season, because he deserves to be the MVP this year, just after his whole landscape of work, what he's done. And I'm sure we'll get to the other guys on the team, because they are absolutely loaded. And I'm obsessed with about 4 or 5 other guys that come off the bench for this team. It's ridiculous. But SGA is nuts, man. He reminded us last night why he's the MVP, and who cares that I missed that 9-game stretch, because I'm back and I'm not missing another game.
Made us feel foolish.
I think you hit it on the head, Chandler. It's that word consistent. This is one of the most consistent superstars we've seen in this league I would say in a long time. You know what to expect from this guy every single night. It's like clockwork. It's almost like he's going through the motions every single night. You see the same thing on a consistent basis, and that's just hard to ignore. On top of that, this team is full of so much depth. You see guys like Jerry McCain, a fresh addition to this team, and he's already playing down the stretch, quality minutes, hitting big shots, making big plays for this team. It's obvious he's the best player on the best team. It's obvious he's one of the top names when it comes to this MVP race, and this is no knock to the Cade Cunninghams and the Jaylen Browns of the world, but the difference is so much more talent with this OKC squad, and he's number 2 in scoring on the best team in the NBA. So it's hard to ignore that, regardless if he misses 9 games, 10 games, or not. He's coming back like he never missed a game, and that's a compliment to the consistency of his game. So I think his nickname should just be Mr. Consistent. That's the best way of describing this kid and his game. So I'm a huge fan, and I think he's going to continue to prove. And obviously, with last night's performance against a top team like the Nuggets, they're now 3-0 against them on the season. I think they're making a clear cut separation as far as who's the best team in the West, and I don't think it's close.
I was thinking about this MVP thing last night too, and I'm like, so the only thing we can knock SGA for is that his team is really good. The only negative thing I can find is that Sam Presti is just a monster and finds these guys that has given him the best supporting cast in the NBA. So that's also not necessarily fair. So it depends on how the voting goes in. I was watching Detroit. I think they were playing Brooklyn, and they were without Cade Cunningham, and they lost. If I'm the Pistons, I can't promote that for why he should be MVP, because my team is that bad without him. So I've never seen 2 different scenarios that are so different of a team that's still good with him, but we're going to knock him because of the depth. But then on the flip side of Cade Cunningham, their team is not very good without him, but you can't promote that being that team. You know what I mean? So I found myself really confused last night. Like, we're going to knock this dude because his team is so deep. That's not fair either.
Well, but at the end of the day, he's still averaging 31.5 and 6.5 on that team. And he's at 126 straight 20-point games. Like, it's not like he's just along for the ride. He's doing the driving. He's
by the way, this is
all of it.
It's almost
that's the
more
fundamental problem, Chandler.
Yeah, but it's almost more impressive that he's doing what he's doing with all that talent.
With that team. Exactly.
That's the whole, that's that Austin Rivers quote is good. But that is the fundamental issue with MVP. Most valuable player, it means very different things to different people. It's not best player in the league. I think that's a different thing. And maybe that's a no-brainer. You say SGA, I don't know. But it's to me, I find it fascinating because Cade Cunningham not being there.
No matter how we word it up. No matter what.
But if you take him off, his team still wins. So is he the most valuable to his team?
That's the only knock
tricky.
Is that their team is
still
still
because
unreal.
They're still a really good team, but are they a championship team? They can be a good team, but are we having this conversation
the thing is,
about
it's
them
a
getting to
regular season
championship
award.
with him?
But it's Lou. It's
Agreed.
a regular season award.
Agreed.
I mean, they got to either rename it or.
But even with
choose.
that, you can't ignore the numbers. Like the numbers support everything we're saying. So it's like no matter how much talent is
every
behind
box.
him, it's not. This isn't a guy averaging 20 a game. Like if that was the case, then yeah, it's a real argument. This guy is second in scoring in the entire NBA. So like no matter what the argument is, he performs on a consistent basis, and the numbers also back it up. So it's not really much of an argument.
What's a word past consistent? 126 straight 20s. I don't think people realize on the outside looking in.
It's crazy.
That's more difficult than averaging 31. So what's a better word for consistent than consistent?
Someone said last night, when you're breaking a record and the dude's picture is in black and white, you're doing something crazy. Like you're doing something nuts. If the guy you're passing's picture is in black and white, what in the world have you done?
By the way, just think of 120. So like a season and a half straight, every single game. So yeah,
and by the way,
I don't.
It's
How
the
do you
same
put that
guy
into
that
perspective?
they have the most like 20-point wins going back to last year too. Where this dude doesn't even play the fourth quarter half of the games. Like it's ridiculous how efficient he's doing it and the time in which he's doing it. It truly is unbelievable. And he sees every coverage. As deep, as good as they are, as talented as the Thunder are, he is the whole focal point of the scouting report. And you could see last night, they were struggling to double team this guy. I saw 2 and 3 grown men struggling to double team one guy with the ball in his hands. It was ridiculous.
It's all the way. It's impressive all the way across the board. Like we're talking about how much he scores. Look at how patient he is with his teammates. Like he allows other guys to do their thing in key moments of the games, and he still manages to finish and close out games and find spots and spurts where he can put points on the board. That speaks to his efficiency on the offensive end of the floor. As for a guy that shoots so many mid-range jumpers and a jump shooter, like any coach would have told you a step aside three-pointer for game is probably a bad shot for game, except for him. Like that's the most impressive part to me. Him still being able to go out and get 15 assists last night in a game like it was.
Yeah.
So they play the Celtics on Thursday, by the way, if he's going to break Wilt's record. That's what he's got to look forward to. He did have some, I don't know that we get SGA quotes every single day. So we're playing him. Here he is.
You know you're going to take a step back three or when you're out?
Yeah, and I had no clue what I was going to do. I have answers to the test, but like I got to see the questions first. So once I seen he was on my left and I was going right, I think it was Christian Braun that was in the gap. So I knew I probably was like if I drove to shoot a midi, it's probably gonna be a contested with 2 guys. So I tried to separate from the 3 and get a good comfortable shot, and then went down.
It's like he came from the future to talk to us. That is badass.
Terrifying. If I'm another coach that's coming up to play him, that this man's telling you, I got the answers. So whatever bullshit scout report you got, I'm gonna figure it out.
Oh no, but he had too many answers to that question.
Dang, that was like a quote, Boogie.
that was a hell of a quote, man. And as you know, if I'm everybody else in the league and I'm hearing this guy talk like this, it's sending fear throughout I mean, I'm not looking forward to facing this guy at any point in the season, especially the playoffs. Like to be that confident facing a double team the entire night and just to break down that play so nonchalant and just, yeah, I got the answers to the test and I finished with a, side step back 3. And, it was basically nothing. Like that's really impressive. And I'm like I said, if I'm anybody else in the Western Conference, Eastern, I don't want to see this guy at any point in the season. Like that is a hell of a quote, man.
You know what I want to do, Boogie? I want to sit next to him on test day and just copy off his.
Of course you do, Chandler.
CP, you still might get it wrong, my brother.
I just want to copy off his answers. That's what I want to do. I want to sit next to him during SATs because he's got all the answers.
Classic Chandler, by the way. Classic Chandler.
Just give a little peek.
I don't think I could dissect the play like that in the moments. The way it's happening in the moment, I don't think I can dissect anything the way he just broke it down as easily as he just made it seem. Like that shows the level. Like he's elite in what he does.
Yeah.
Like I'm blown away. That's crazy to hear. That's really crazy to hear.
And by the way, and he looks cool doing it. Like the whole vibe is just very.
It's too cool. Like
it's too cool.
It's crazy.
I'm just thinking, what assistant coach on the Celtics has the scout coming up, and he's just like, damn. Now what do I do? He just told me I got nothing for him. Now,
you still try though. Try your hardest. Hey, look, the Spurs beating them multiple times. There is a way. There's a way. So just got to figure it out. But Spurs Thunder Western Conference Finals is going to be classic. Dwayne Wade had an interesting take on the Thunder and the organization as a whole. He said that Russell Westbrook remains the greatest Thunder player of all time simply because of the triple-double 3 times. He averaged it, which I thought was an interesting thing when you consider that SGA is SGA. He's got 1 MVP award already, probably maybe going to get his 2nd pretty soon, and he brought a championship to the town, Boogie. Like, I don't know how I feel about this one.
I think you just hit it on the head. That's what separates greatness. You know, once you start adding that ring or those accolades to your resume, that's what separates you. And don't take it as a knock to Russell Westbrook. Up until last season, when Shai had basically one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen from a player, I would agree with Dwayne Wade. But after that championship run, I think Shai, I think he put himself in the elite category. And like I said, this is no knock to Russ. This is no knock to Kevin Durant. But I think what I just said, I think it goes Shai, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant as far as, the rankings of the greatest OKC players of all time. So, this is no knock. And, D-Wade can feel however he feels. And this isn't taking away, the credit of him averaging these triple-double. I think that's also an incredible form of greatness. So we can't ignore that either. But the season that Shai had last season, we may not ever see that again. Well, unless it happens this year. So
unless we're doing it.
Yeah, I think he separated himself from the pack, being able to bring that title to OKC. And like I said, I think once you add those rings, that's what separates greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah, like D-Wade's not wrong for his take. And if done right, all 3 of these guys are going to have their jerseys retired in OKC if they do right by Kevin Durant, if they can kind of mend their relationship. I think SGA is going to be the 3rd person to have his jersey retired. However, he's going to put a lot of pressure on all of the records and all of the history that Russell Westbrook made because he's finishing with the ring. You have all of those numbers. You have all of those triple doubles for the goal of being championship level. Those numbers get you to the championship. SGA has been able to do that with a championship. He's been able to do that with an MVP. If he turns around and get both of those again this year, we're not having this conversation anymore. But that says how much lineage that OKC has and the players that they go out and get and the success they've been able to have as an organization. So D-Wade's not wrong for feeling that way at all about Russell Westbrook and the things that he's been able to do. But if we're watching closely, SGA is going to blow that out the water.
Yeah, I agree.
And notice he said as of right now, because by the end of his time, it's not even going to be close. And again, I think the championship trumps everything Russ and KD and those guys did, and not taking anything away from them. They were the first to do it in OKC too, and we'll always remember that team. So, especially those 2 guys and James Harden. But that championship to me trumps both the MVP. He's probably going to get another MVP. And again, as of right now, are the key 4 words in this, because it ain't going to be close by the time SGA is done.
No, it feels like it's in real time happening. Guys, Joker was on a podcast, and we only had to go to Serbia to hear it. Yay! X's and O's, little chat he had. Okay, so first he said, can't see himself ever leaving Denver, which I think that seems right. Like he and Wemby, the 2 untouchables, Chandler? My.
Well, yeah, I can see him riding off the sunset with this team, but there's a lot of other guys. Exactly. There's a lot of other guys. And again, things change in this league. Ownership changes. There's a lot of turnover in this league. So you never want to say never. And again, this is a guy that we're talking that 29 other teams would be chomping at the bit and throwing a bag at him at his age. Doesn't matter. Teams will still offer a boatload to get him. But yes, I do believe when he says that. I do believe he's a consistent guy, that's a loyal guy that has had nothing but great times and memories there. So I think there's a couple other guys that are similar to that, but I would never say never. His relationship with Luka, his relationship with these other guys, You never know when things go sideways in a situation and they turn, but I could definitely see him being one of the, 5 to 10 guys that could stay in the same place.
How about this? We hope that. I hope that that's the case because it would be awesome. Boogie, this one's for you. He said he'll retire before Wemby has the entire league in a chokehold. It's a very specific idea.
You better hurry up
about that.
Hey, I took that quote.
Only got a few years left.
Wemby ain't far off at all. We talking 2 years maybe at max.
Dang.
So I mean,
Well,
if I'm
at least he
I'm a
told
little
us.
worried by that quote. You know what I mean?
Shoot.
Because I mean,
That's what I'm saying, Boogie.
We're
At least he gave us a heads up. So now we know.
exactly.
2 years.
So when we start putting a little pressure, we're gonna be looking at Denver like,
well, right now. I mean, this could happen by next year. I think
I
2
never
years
want it to
and
happen.
back. So it may be a little exaggeration in what he's saying. Obviously, he's trying to give Wemby the credit that he deserves with the pace that he's continued to progress at. So that's all understandable. But I was on record speaking when I had the chance to be teammates with Jokic. Our lockers were right next to each other, and people thought I was making up just bullshit stories. But this guy told me he was thinking about retiring like pretty soon. So when he told me this, I'm like, yo, you're tripping. You got $600 million more to make in this league before you should ever consider retiring. He's just like, nah, brother. And in his calm, low-key tone, it's like, nah, brother, I just want to go lay in the valley with my horses. So I remember, I was blown away when he said it. I'm just like, this, I think it's well documented that basketball may be his second or third hobby in life.
It's his job.
So
It's his job.
it's just a job for him. And to hear him even
Nothing
say
wrong with
that,
that.
obviously with Wemby progressing the way he is, I'm starting to really believe it might be some truth to it. I would hate to see that because I want to see this guy play until the wheels fall off. I want to go see him make another $600-700 million in his league because I think he's that much of a talent. But his mindset, the comfort, the comfortability that he goes through in life is just a lot different than anybody we're used to seeing or accustomed to seeing. So I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in the next 3-4 years, and he just rides off in the sunset. I would hate to see it, but I also wouldn't be surprised.
I was gonna say Euros they live to work. They don't work to live. It's a beautiful, different lifestyle.
The Euros, they not from here. They so far from home, and they have such high expectation levels when they're here. When they go home, he probably is just allowed to be NIKOLA. His family is there, his horse is there, his whole ecosystem is there. That's something that's considered about these guys. I can't imagine being away from home 6, 7, 8 months every year, then coming back somewhere across the world that I'm not from, that I don't really know what's going on. And Denver is probably all that he knows for real. At this point, he's visited a lot of NBA cities. He knows what cities he loves and he likes. The Denver is home to him. So I can see his point in saying I'm probably not going to play anywhere besides Denver because that's all he knows. And that's also somewhat of his personality and his makeup, So I believe everything that he's saying.
I never want him to quit, but I know it will be earlier than we probably want or wish for. So I'm not going to get sad today about it. Lou, he also said, and I do love this, that Ant, join the club, is his favorite player to watch and the one that he likes the most right now. I love that he said that part out loud, Lou.
Not surprised at all. And is a very likable player, and he's an exciting player, and he carries himself in a way that you kind of got to respect the way that he goes about business. He's unapologetic about his personality, about his style of play. How can you not love a guy that curses his coach out and then apologizes to his coach in public and says we have the best relationship in the world, and he's doing all of this with a smile on his face? A lot of different guys could have did the same exact thing, and we would have perceived it and we would have looked at it in a completely different lens than we do with Ant-Man. That's what makes him so lovable and so fun to watch. So I'm with Jokic. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He brings the entertainment value into the game as well. So Jokic is probably sitting at home laughing and enjoying the game a lot of the times when they're not competing against each other because Ant-Man is such a likable player, and it don't hurt that he's one of the best players in the world as well.
I do love to picture Jokic on his couch watching the Timberwolves
With a beard,
just getting up out of his chair when Ant does something crazy. That's hilarious to me. I'm surprised. I figured he would pick a Euro. I'm surprised he didn't pick Bogdanovich or one of his homies. Just I feel that's the type of guy he is. But I love the fact I love the fact that he's just like us and just loves him some Anthony Edwards because
Yeah.
he is probably the most exciting player to watch. He is the most charismatic, personable, star type personality in the league today. So as much talent as there is, I gotta agree with the big fella. Ant's probably my favorite player to watch too.
Same. Guys, is it me or would Jokic love hanging out with us? Like, I feel like we could all really be good friends.
Boogie,
Tell
get
me
him
I'm
on.
wrong,
I
Boogie.
hung with him
Tell me I'm
before. I
wrong.
hung with him, and he's fun to kick
Hey,
it
y'all
with.
better be ready to drink. I know that.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Hey,
I'll
Boogie, I
figure
was
it
gonna
out.
keep that to myself, but now that you said it,
No
Chandler's
problem.
fine.
Drinking, that's under a table.
Wait,
Better
drink
be
what
ready.
though? Like, what are we drinking?
It doesn't matter. Come dance with the
I think it's
devil.
up- I think it's up to the big fella.
Okay, well, I mean, the wine, I could do the wine. He also, and this is interesting to me too, Boogie, compared himself to Mike Tyson of all people, saying, quote, Mike Tyson, when he was entering the ring, was afraid of his opponent. Once he got in the ring, it was different. He also went on to say he has the same mentality as Tyson. In my life, I would have never, ever put those two people together, Boogie. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, this was a surprise to me as well. I didn't even think Joker knew who Mike Tyson was. Like,
Apparently.
to hear
More of
him
a Tyson
compare
Fury
himself
guy.
to hear him compare himself to Mike Tyson and,
we had
and
them all
basically
wrong,
said we
Chandler.
kind of had the same mindset. That's kind of frightening to hear. But it also makes sense in the sense, you know, when I would approach games, usually before every game, I have anxiety. You know, I'm nervous. You know, all of these things until, you know, that jump ball happens and all that kind of goes out the window. So when you think about it in that kind of an aspect, it makes sense what he's saying. Once that jump ball goes up, now I'm ready to rip whoever's head off that's in front of me. But going into the game, I usually have butterflies. I'm nervous. And like I said, my anxiety is through the roof. So if he's meaning it in that aspect, then I totally understand. But like I said, I never would have thought he would compare himself to a guy like Mike Tyson.
In no world. In no world.
See, I think we've taken the horse thing so far that we think this guy just does nothing else. Clearly, this guy's awesome. And clearly,
he has been awesome.
Really is, though. He really
He's
is.
literally been awesome.
Just like us. So good for
He's
you.
just like us.
Listen, I love their whole crew. Him, Luka, Bobby, all of those guys. That's the crew. I love those guys. I spent a lot of time with them in the bubble.
There's an account, and I'll send you all I wish I could remember the guy's name, but he does Jokic and Luka basically calling each other. Actually, it's only Luka calling Jokic on the phone because Jokic hates talking on the phone, according to this guy. I'm sending it to you because he's lovable and he's dry, and I think sometimes dry gets misconstrued. Bless his heart. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. Knicks were in LA still last night. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it's a problem. We'll talk that next.
Run it back, run it up, run it back.
126-118, your final, and a Clippers win last night over New York. Kawhi Leonard, 29, 8, 7. Darius Garland, 23 and 7. Mathurin had 28.7 rebounds off the bench. Cat had a good game, 35 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. We'll start with Los Angeles here because they have won 5 of their last 6. They are in the 8 seed, and they have reached the 500 mark for the first time since November. Now, 2 teams in NBA history, Chandler, have actually been able to start a season at 6-21 and make the playoffs. And to put it in perspective, the last one that did that, I was 10 years old. So that's how long it's been.
That was a long time ago.
I just gave that one to you. You're welcome. What do you think? Are we looking at a possibility?
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable what they've done, how far they've come, all the drama, all the turnover that they've had in such a short period of time and since the beginning of this season. It's truly remarkable. And I think that we're seeing a really, really good version of Kawhi Leonard. He's healthy. He's back. Darius Garland's now in the lineup. They added Benedict Mathurin, who is going to be that, kind of young scoring piece that they haven't really had in a while. So I love what they added. I hate the fact that they had to lose the big fella Zoo. But again, this is an extreme turnaround in such a short amount of time. And this team was built this summer to win now. They were an older team, they're an experienced team. And now at least at the deadline, they lost a lot of talent that can help you win more right now. But they have future pieces too to look forward to. Like now you have promise. Now you have your starting point guard, Darius Garland. Now you got guys like Benedict Mathurin. Now you add some pieces mixed in with these experienced vet guys that know how to win basketball games. and it's showing. And they're starting to play really well. They've always had the defensive capability. Guys like Chris Dunn, who have completely turned his career around. Lopez out there still knocking down shots. So they have good role players. They have experience. And now they have some young talent to add into there. They could be dangerous. And again, there's a long way to go. And I hope they do kind of slide into that spot. But it's the Western Conference is tough. So we know no matter what they do, 7, 8 seed, they're going to have to go through a tough Oklahoma City or San Antonio team. But this team has the talent. This team has the depth and the experience to be a nightmare mismatch for whoever they get.
Man, makes you think if it had started off that way.
I told y'all Kawhi misspoke when he said it was over. I said he misspoke. He didn't really mean that.
Well, he said it, Lou.
What did he mean?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I've been teammates with him before, and I know that he has a winner's mentality. So when I saw that, I said, I'm going to go out on a limb and just say that he misspoke because I've never seen him say something is over when he still got a puncher's shot at getting in the playoffs. But, since those trades, this team has found something in their pace, right? They're just playing faster, playing more in the open court. Guys are sharing the basketball, and they're just taking advantage of every opportunity they get on fast breaks and open courts and using their speed to their advantage. So I love the new identity of this group. I love what Mathurin is bringing to the table. Chandler just said it. Chris Dunn has been so instrumental in creating a vibe and what they need on the defensive end, and they're carrying over. And when you have a guy at the lead at your point guard position that has a defensive mentality, then you have a Kawhi Leonard that has a defensive mentality. Now you got other guys that's long and athletic that can play in the passing lanes and be disruptive on the defensive end. They found something with pace and just being able to play fast, and especially with Garland coming over. Every single time that a team scores or it's a missed shot, he's pushing the ball up your back. He's trying to create opportunities for those guys, and they're just playing at a pace that's hard to guard, especially when you got 3 or 4 guys that can score the basketball at the clip that a Darius Garland or a Kawhi Leonard can at any given time. And then you have Mathurin coming off the bench and the way that he's been able to play for them. Having 20s off the bench basically since he's been there. Like they have turned into a really dangerous team, and they found something in their identities. They've shortened their lineup a little bit. They're not playing 10 or 11 different guys. They're playing 8, 9 deep, and they're going and they're losing and they're winning games with that. They're living and dying by it. And I like the way that they're playing right now.
It's weird that we're still thinking they might move Kawhi. Like, it just doesn't feel right, Boogie. It's weird.
I mean, it is weird, and that is something that's still lingering, and I think that's something they'll face in the offseason. But as of right now, I do think this Clippers team is living in the moment, and credit to them. We were very critical, and myself included, of the horrendous start that they had to this season. It was too much talent. It was a team built on, fighting for a championship at the end of the year, and obviously they were nowhere close to that. But I would say the 2 biggest things that have stood out to me as of right now with the stretch that they've had is, one, this is the healthiest we've seen Kawhi in a long time, which is great for the Clippers, great for basketball in general and NBA fans across the world. And 2, it's the pace, which Lou spoke on earlier. I think the pace is somewhat of a new identity that, this team is kind of, transformed into. And also, they now kind of playing more of an open floor. You have a stretch big in Brook Lopez who can knock down shots. That's something that they didn't have when they were starting, a guy like Zubac. The paint was more crowded. It was harder to, for Kawhi to get down here or get to his mid-range shots when the paint was as crowded as it was. So I do like, the new pace, the new style of play as well. We were so used to seeing them kind of get off to these slow starts because the pace was so slow. And so everything about it has changed kind of overnight. And I think everything I just mentioned is part of the reason that we're getting the results that we're getting now. So, glad to see them at this point, especially with the way they started. And, we'll see how this thing plays out. And I think if they do make some sort of a late push in this season, they may reconsider, in the offseason. They may think about, maybe we can build something around this moving forward. So I think it's a day-to-day thing, and, we'll see what happens.
The Knicks side of this, look, they were out here for a while in Los Angeles, and they lost both of the games to the Lakers and the Clippers by double digits. They are only a half game up now on Cleveland, which is crazy and a little bit too close for comfort, I'd imagine. What are we chalking it up to, Chandler? Rough road trip, or are they just second tier?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough city to be 4 or 5 days. And I'm not gonna name any names, but I saw some guys at Nobu Malibu this weekend.
Don't start that. Don't start that. Don't start that.
Do it.
No,
I'm
no
not
telling
gonna
no
name
We
running
can even
back.
enjoy a dinner now.
But hold on, LA stops.
Start
LA
that,
shuts
Chandler.
down early. in
Chandler, don't
fairness.
be that old guy in the media.
I
He's the
acting
old
said
like
I'm
guys
not
can't
gonna
go to
name
dinner.
any names. I'm not gonna
Dinner's
name any
dinner.
names.
That's not bad.
Nobu
Listen.
isn't a club.
No,
It ain't a
it's-
hookah lounge.
LA's
It's
sleepy.
dinner.
They're from New
it's-
York. Like, if you're gonna get in trouble,
That's
do it
what-
there.
You know what, Beadle? That's what I was gonna say. If this was a lesser city, I would be like, it's an
Yeah.
excuse. But it is the one time you come to LA and they put both back to backs. Like, you're gonna enjoy yourself. I know, damn sure I would. So you could chalk it up
You're
to
a
that.
degenerate, Chandler. Like, it's different.
You could also just chalk it up that they're not a very consistent team and they have
we
had
can.
ups and downs all season long. So again, we can blame the city, and I'm not kidding about Nobu Malibu. But I'm not
Chandler,
kidding.
you sound like the old guy in the media that blames players for going outside and having a little life.
I am
dare
not
you,
sound
blaming.
like the old guy.
Nope, I will never be that guy. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying I simply saw them with my own eyes.
Observed
We
it.
didn't ask you for that. Get out of here. We didn't ask you for that.
So my point is, maybe they had fun, maybe they didn't. It's a fantastic establishment. I know I did that
Wow.
night.
You're making it worse.
Wow.
You're making it worse, Chandler.
You are actually making it worse. Like, at first I thought,
What did you think about the game? What did you think about the tears in the East?
How
Maybe
about
they're
they're
just not-
How about they're an inconsistent team? And sometimes I watch them and I'm like, wow, this team is very good. And sometimes I watch them and I'm like, they're going to lose first round to whoever they draw. And that's just how their identity's been all season long. And you never know what you're going to get with Cat. He actually was unreal. I love the energy and the aggression that he played with. Jalen Brunson's obviously going to be that most consistent guy where he's always going to get the reps. He's always going to get the opportunity and he's going to produce big numbers. It's just the other guys. And they just haven't been able to get over that hump. They haven't been able to put, a consistent, they'll win 5, 6, 7, 8 games, but then they'll smoke 4 or 5. And like they have to find a way to get more balanced and more consistent because look at the standings. The Cavs are hawking them down. And again, you do not want to fall out of home court advantage. Obviously, a lot has to go wrong for that to happen, but you don't want to fall. Obviously, I think that it's pretty safe to say they'll end up at least in that 4th at worst, but Toronto's not throwing in the towel. Orlando's like anything can happen in this Eastern Conference. And obviously, having home court advantage is monumental for this Knicks team.
We're going to take a quick break. Ime Udoka calling out his team on toughness. We'll talk about that next.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Welcome back, or as my Mongolian friends like to say, Tavtai Moril. God, I'm crushing at you guys. It's almost like
enough.
Yeah, I know. I'm learning Mongolian in the breaks. I'm doing it for Boogie. God. All right. So the Rockets lose to the Spurs, right? And Ime Udoka said that they have talent, which nobody's going to argue. But here's what they're missing: identity, mentality, toughness, dog. 19 games left, Lou. Are you going to find those things?
You can't. I mean, sometimes you can find a groove and it works for your team. I don't know if you can find this laundry list of things that Ime Udoka is looking for, but you can definitely find an identity that works that's going to carry you through the rest of this regular season and throughout the postseason. That's going to be instrumental in them trying to be successful. But if they're missing all of these things, they got bigger issues to worry about than what they're going to do for the next 19 games. And so, Ime is the type of coach, he calls his team out and he hopes that they respond to it. And so let's see what happens with him doing this here. But saying that they lack identity, mentality, and toughness, those are all things that you need to be a championship caliber team. So if your head coach is saying that, one, he got to take some accountability for that being the identity of his team. And two, they got big fish to fry if they have these issues right now going into this last stretch of the season.
Yeah, like this isn't a small sample. This is 61 games, and and this is not the time of year where you want 3, 4, 5, traits of a championship team. Your head coach publicly saying you don't have, and it's hard not to agree with him. When you watch this team, they are so talented, but the way they play, it's not aggressive. It's not, they don't throw the first punch. They do kind of play very laissez-faire, very kind of dance around and very like iso ball. Like it's not it's just different watching them play. And maybe that's what he's alluding to, that they need to bring the fight to the game, and then they need to be more aggressive offensively and defensively, because they are so long and they are so athletic where they should be able to punk you on either side of the ball. And a lot of nights they don't do it. So I feel what he's saying here, because that roster and that talent, they should be a lot better. And maybe it's because they lack these critical characteristics of why they're not. And talent can only get you that far in this league. And those three things I'm reading right there, they need that to be able to compete with these other teams in the league.
By the way, if you're in the locker room, like, Boogie, how are you responding to this laundry list, as Lou said?
I think you respond with trying to go out there and prove it on the floor. I think Udoka is a well-respected coach. I think the guys in that locker room respect him, respect his mentality and what he brings to this team as a leader. But, me hearing this quote, what I heard is we're missing Fred VanVleet and we're missing Steven Adams.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I've always thought this team was missing pieces. Like, yes, it's a lot of talent, but it's an established talent in Kevin Durant. We know what he's bringing, but it's also a lot of young guys that haven't, quite proven themselves in this league yet. So they're still in the process of learning how to be, a championship contending team. So it's a lot harder task when you're playing some of the guys out of position. And I think about the Thompson twin. Like, as talented as this kid is, to give him the job of, being the so-called point guard on the floor, a lot of the mentality, a lot of the identity of teams comes from that point guard position. When you think about, a Stephon Castle and being that point guard for the Spurs, a Shea, the list goes on. A Chris Paul type guy. These are the guys that create that type of identity and mentality for the rest of the group. And they usually, whatever that point guard brings, the rest of the team kind of follows. We even talked about a guy like Chris Dunn earlier. He brings that mentality. He brings that identity for that team. So I do think that's been their lingering problem all year. That's why they haven't been able to find that consistency or stay on a consistent path as far as trying to compete for a championship. So until those holes are filled, and this is no knock to Reed, that's my young UK brother, but he's just not there yet. I do believe he will be one day, but as of right now, he's not there yet. And I think that's more so of their issue compared to, trying to make these guys be something that they're just not. They're not. You know what I mean?
I get it.
I think that plays a huge part into what their problems are right now.
But is this something that they can just flip this? They can just flip the switch, Boogie, or they are who they are, and hopefully their talent, their shot making ability just gets them through.
This is a team full of wings. That doesn't.
Yeah.
A team full of wings
Can't just
don't
do it.
compliment. Yeah, like, you have to have that floor general, especially with a wing scorer like Kevin Durant. He's coming down having to create his offense every single time. That's not a healthy situation. Sometimes you need a guy to just put him in position to run him off the screen and help him get to an easy bucket. It shouldn't be where he has to come down and create every time. And he doesn't necessarily have that player out there that can create for him. And that goes for the rest of the guys on the floor as well. So, like I said, when I see that quote, it automatically took me to, they're missing a guy like Fred VanVleet, and they're missing the toughness and the leadership of a guy like Steven Adams.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks would have been a good Houston. Oh, that's right. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. Wrap things up on the other side. I'll learn more Mongolian. Don't worry.
Run it up, run it back.
Welcome back. I got a JB Bickerstaff situation here. I'm glad that my internet just went out, so I'm going to try to remember everything about it. However, after they lost their fourth straight game, which is where they are right now, he did say, we're not really overly concerned with what Boston's going to do. We're really more concerned about what we have to get done, which I kind of get. I get the sentiment, Chandler, but you kind of also have to worry about Boston.
Yeah, I think you look, and obviously this is the point of the season where you're following the standings. You're seeing what Cleveland's doing. You're seeing what New York's doing. You're seeing what these other teams kind of in a similar boat as you. But I know JB, and I know his message is to control our controllables. We control our own destiny. We've had a great consistent season. Now we're kind of hitting a dose of adversity here. How are we going to respond? And this is, Cleveland, San Antonio, I think are solid losses on the road. Then you go and give a bad one away to the Nets at home. Then you lose at Miami. So this is tonight. I think they're back at Brooklyn tonight. I think this is a game to kind of get back on the winning side of things. Kind of you put all the losing streak aside because they haven't gone through many of these all season long. And this is a team that's had a lot of success. And I think it's good to be tested like this. But it is that season. It is that part of the season too, where you're kind of looking over your shoulder and you're seeing how good Boston looks right now, and you're seeing Jason Tatum back. So you're definitely seeing that, but at the same time, you can control what you can control. And again, this is a team that's based on toughness and DNA and identity. Everything that Houston's looking for, that's what this team has. So that's the good thing is as that travels, and that's going to be even magnified and better in the playoffs. But I think tonight's going to be a big game for them where they get back on track and they beat the brakes off the Nets on their court.
By the way, they better, right, Lou? Like,
yeah, I understand where he's coming from, though. Like, if we're not playing our best basketball, it doesn't matter who's doing what around us. We got to tighten our ship up, right? Like, we got to get our things together for us to get back on track. You know, after 4 straight losses, I can't be looking back at Boston. I got to start right here in this room with my players and with my team, and we got to correct the things that we have. Chandler just said it. Detroit has it. They got toughness. They have an identity. They have all of those different things. They got to put it back in the box. And this is not the time of the year that you want your team wavering and not being the best version that they can possibly be. So it don't matter what Boston is doing. It don't matter what Cleveland is doing, because if we're not playing our best basketball, they're gonna whoop us anyway. So we gotta focus and get back to the brand of basketball that's gotten us thus far in the season. So I expect them to have a bounce back win tonight, like Chandler just said as well. But again, they can't look around and worry about other teams. They got to get back to the things that they do well, and that's put them in the position that they're in.
Yeah.
Poor Nets. I feel like they're always on the end of a team coming in on a losing streak. It's just that scheduling gods have it that way, Boogie. I get it. Look, the sentiment is there, but with Tatum back, I feel like everybody in the Eastern Conference is now concerned about Boston. Like, it would be kind of a lie to say you're not, right?
I mean, it's pointless to worry about it right now, especially if you're one of the top 3 teams in the East. That's a concern that will be later on in the playoffs anyway. So you have to control what's in front of you, which is, righting your ship. They are on a current losing streak, so they got to correct their issues before they're worried about a new issue. So it makes complete sense what he's saying. They definitely have to right their own ship. And this is a team that's been consistent all year. They finally met some adversity in a year, and it's actually a good thing for them. This is something that can prepare them for later on in the playoffs, which is full of adversity. So this is a early test for a young team that's in the process or at the end of a process of getting over that hump and becoming one of the elite teams in this league and the actual contender. So they have to right their ship before they work with the next group.
I'd like to shout out Chandler's daughter for throwing up on him in the dark. That's what I'm talking about. High fives to her. I'd like to also say to you, Boogie, Amjilt Kushya.
Oh.
Good luck tomorrow.
Hey, go have a game, bud.
Have some Mongolian beef today, Beadle.
Yeah, get some beef, fuel up, and go win that series, bud.
We'll talk to you after your game,
Come on.
Boogie.
They're running back, yeah.